They call me Dr. Glove. They call me Dr. Glove. Calling Dr. Glove. I got the warmth against your thumb. Calling Dr. Glove. Woo! Yeah! What the fuck is up, rock and rollers? It's me, Papa Bear himself, customer services resident bad boy, the man with the plan, the settlers of Catan, Adam Pecora here. And you have tuned in to another, feeling singy today, exciting rendition of Requiem for a Tuesday. What up? What a spectacle that was. I'm lighting sparklers right now. You can't see them, but we got sparklers all around the room. That was a real big intro, you know. Your boy Gene Simmons. Shout out. What a fucking loser. Never really liked that guy. Anyway, how you doing? We're back. Episode 104. Let me do the plugs. Then we'll get right into it. First of all, help your boy out here. You listening? Rate, review, subscribe. Share it. Give me a 5-star on Apple, on Spotify, on whatever you listen to. It's on there. Tell your friends. Somebody please listen to me. Get the merch at rfat.bigcartel.com. We got a tote as the main item, really, and we got a pin. It's nice. Bottle cap. You don't see that a lot. Proud of that. And some other stuff. Microwave Minutes, Justice Show. Check that out. Going strong. Good episodes coming out consistently. Who would have thought? Check out the music multiplex and Wolf X. Nothing brewing, but you can go check out Google, our album from last year. It is excellent. A lot of fun to make, a lot of fun to listen to. And follow me on Instagram at m.rfat. If for some reason you got to reach out, rfatpodcast@gmail.com. Haven't mentioned that in a while. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. Whatever. Good enough for me. Check out those things. Everything's linked in the description below. So you can't miss it. You got no excuses. And the rating and subscribing is there too. It's not even in the description. It's just in the app. It's part of it. Who would have thought? Look at how nice that is. I've been saying who would have thought a lot lately. I'm aware of it. It's about as much effort as I can give you. I don't really know what to tell you. Speaking of not knowing what to tell you, we have been, as I told you in the last episode, in a bit of a transitional period over here at the RFAT Audio Studios headquarters, whatever you want to fucking call it. It's my house, so it's not that elaborate. Opening up, as I said, a little mini print studio. Gonna have some items for sale. Again, I won't really be plugging that on here. I want to debut it and progress update as it goes on, because it does affect the show. I have been pretty distracted for 2 straight weeks now, and even as I'm doing this is gonna be a good one though. Don't turn it off, please. Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off. Okay. Thank you for not turning it off. Anyway, so yeah, I've just been getting a lot of shipments, receiving a lot of things, trying to keep track of this, keep track of that. Oh, this is already bad. I got to try to set some kind of business model. I got to make designs for the things. I got to make the things. And we're still in setup phase, so there's a long way to go still. Haven't even, I'm still waiting on a second business laptop. I need a laptop, period. Things like that. Anyway, printer just arrived. Things are just still coming in and out. So I'm not getting to watch nearly as much as I would like. I literally had to wake up early and watch Barry today before work. By the way, let's just do a tangent. Great fucking episode of Barry. I mean, Barry has always done a great job from the beginning of misleading you, but in a great way. Maybe not even that's the right way to put it. But the plot will be going, and you're like, oh, I can predict what's going to happen next based on what just happened. And then it will take a complete left turn and will still be completely satisfying. Almost like in Succession, where they're like, oh, this is the big new plot point. And then the next episode, a week later, you were like, holy shit, how are they ever going to get out of this? And then the next week, they blow it off in one line. They're like, oh, yeah, we took care of it. We paid the guy off or whatever, and you're just like, oh, I thought that was like a narrative climax. And it's like, no, what we did was fucking crush that episode and getting your brain going. And then we're just like, here's another great episode. Like, we don't need to fucking linger on every little plot line that comes our way. If it's ran its course, if it's only one episode, that's fine. Crush it. We'll move on. And Barry's doing that at a frantic pace, to the point where this show is going to be completely different by the end of the season. It seems like it might be over by the end of the season. I don't really know where it's heading. I mean, obviously, it excuse me, it got renewed for season 4, so it's going to keep going, but they've basically broken down the entire structure of the show, So season 1, he finds acting by accident through his hitman shit. And he's trying to get his way out of it and just can't. And everything starts to work out. And then he has to kill a cop to get out of it, right? And then in season 2, he just can't pull away. And basically just goes berserk and kills everybody. And he's like, well, now it's good. And then season 3 now, he's like, I did it. Like, I'm finally free. Can everybody just chill? And all the people that, were damaged in his wake are like, no, dude. Like, we're not good now. And he doesn't really seem to know how to handle that or handle anything. And it is just going completely off the rails. I mean, he loses his girl. The acting thing is completely gone by the wayside, which I think is the biggest flaw of season 3, because at the end of season 1, they're like, oh, he's just going to make it as an actor. And then in season 2, actually, I don't even really remember, but in season 2, it's still like a pursuing thing. And then in this one, it's just like kind of abandoned, and then he does get a part, but then that just goes away. So I don't know. But I really liked the idea of, oh, even though he's terrible at acting, everybody just keeps finding a thing that he likes. And like, I like the idea of him actually being successful at it. Him not doing it at all, it's like, well, that's part of the reason why I have no idea where this is going. So that's kind of good. But also like, so what is this show about now? I guess it doesn't have to stick to its like initial premise, because that was just the initial premise, but I don't know. Because, like, now we know all the characters and everything, so like it can go in any direction that it wants. I just kind of felt that the pursuing of that would matter, because that's still Sally's goal. That's still Cousineau's thing now. He's hanging out with Joe Montana, fun shit like that. So I just don't know. I just don't know where it's going to go, and that is thrilling. I'm so excited every week, and then every week a ton of crazy shit happens. So that's fun. I kind of wish Fuchs would just go away by now. If you don't watch Barry, by the way, you're fucking up. So catch up. Maybe I'll do like a season 3 recap when it's over. We'll see. But I loved that he goes to NoHo and Cristobal, the lovely gay couple of drug lords that's in this show now. And they give him advice for him to show more of himself. And he's like, well, I can't really say that I'm like an assassin. And he's like, oh no, please don't. And he's like, okay, I'll make her something and show her something of myself. So he makes like a collage with like Air Jordan logos and like TV show shit. Amazing. And then she shows up distraught because her show gets canceled. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to reveal more of myself to you and try to like win you back and be like, look, I'm sharing, I'm being open and all this. So he like kind of takes their advice. And she brings up like the person who canceled the show, the executive or whatever. Barry goes, do you know where she lives? And she's like, oh no, what are you going to like write her a letter or something? And he's like, no, I'll take a picture of her while she's sleeping and then send it to her. And she's like, what? You're going to break in? And he's like, no. Like, she won't ever know I was there. I'm going to like break her mentally over time. And like, I'm going to swap out her furniture with slightly smaller furniture. And it just keeps going and going and going and all these little details. And it's just so good. And she's shocked the entire time. And then he's like, yeah, at the end, she'll just hang herself. It'll be nice and easy or whatever. And she's like, you need to get out. He's like, what do you mean? Isn't that nice? I'm just going to do something for you. Well, and leading up, when he's with Cristobal and Hank, he's like, I didn't even yell at her. He's like, I got like this high in register. And in the actual scene, he is like belligerent, like screaming in her face. Just great stuff. Bill Hader's a genius. And they do a recap on The Ringer with Bill Hader every week, just hearing that and realizing that like collage thing was just like a Thief reference because he had that stupid little thing with them where he's like, this is my vision board, you stupid broad. And it's like you carry around a little piece of paper just with all your favorite little pictures on it. Like, what are we doing? So anyway, love Barry. You saw the title. You knew what you were getting into. But I just love it. And what the fuck is going to happen the rest of the way? I have no idea. I think they only do 8-episode seasons, so there's only 3 left. And less is more just always seems to work because I just want more. And if they did more, would it work? Probably. Let's just be honest. But man, shout out Bill Hader. What a fucking icon. Can't wait till we hang out. But I digress. Like I said, so I'm trying to build out this fucking studio. And I got a nice desk with drawers and a table that slides out and lifts up. It's like a drafting table, technically. And I'm putting it together. Everything's going real smooth. As it could. There's some hiccups, of course. But then I get to this point where it's like, okay, just screw these little guider things. I don't know the term, whatever. Into the bottom of the base. And those will act as the little sliders for your drawers. Okay, easy enough. They're like, the holes just line up. There's holes on the bottom of the frame. There's holes in these little sliders. You just screw them right in. Doesn't that sound like the most simple, easy instructions you could ever ask for? Yes, of course they do. But what do I find as soon as I get under that table? You line it up on one side, you screw it in, and then you go to the other side and you're like, wait, what's happening here? And basically, the holes can only line up halfway each way. Like if it were dead in the middle of the 2 individual holes that are on the bottom of the desk, okay? The holes on the slider piece are slightly shorter on each end. If this is making sense. I realize it's hard to explain such a visual thing. But basically, The sliders, when they're in place, if they're even, you can only see half of the hole you're supposed to drill into on either side. And if you do a complete one where you can screw the screw in actually through the slider into the hole, the other end is so far off that you can't even see the hole anymore. Just the edge of it, like just a tiny little sliver. And it's like, what? I need 2 more millimeters on this fucking thing? And to make matters even worse, okay, the holes on the sliders are oval shaped, but they're facing, let's say, north and south when they should be east and west. And if they were east and west, I'd have the extra room that I need. Like, that's how small of a gap we're talking here. Like, I need millimeters of space. And there's just nothing I can do. I mean, it's just like so frustrating. It's like I backtracked through the entire instructions. And it's like, oh, what did I fuck up? I must have got real high, put on something backwards like a dumb fuck. This happens all the time. You know, you got to build and rebuild. It's typically like a 4-hour process to build anything with instructions that's more complicated than a table. And no, there's nothing. I found 0 flaws with anything that I did. And it's like, and then I look through the reviews. Nobody has this issue. I look on YouTube, like a building instructor. Nobody has this issue. So it's like, what? I just so happen to get the one set that has a very unique issue where everything is off by such a small amount that you can't even really report it in any way. Because what are they going to do? Like, I don't know what thing is at fault. Is the desk at fault and it somehow got built too big and what am I supposed to do? Or are all the sliders somehow too short? Like, how is this even possible? Like, what could have possibly been done differently in this mass-produced thing that this one is off by this much? And it just leaves me in a pretzel. My brain's a pretzel. I look like a fucking idiot. I'm like putting all my weight on the bars of this table. Like, can I squeeze this metal inward so I can screw these fucking things? And the answer is no. It's a sturdy, well-built desk. And it just is like the one time quality becomes a problem. You know, it's like, oh, this is so well built that I can't compensate for how poorly it was designed. Like, it's such a weird issue where it's like the thing is so well made that I can't fix the poorly made aspects of it. Like, so that's where I'm at. I just keep walking into the room and like staring at it and I'm like, maybe it'll just work now. And it's like, no. And then I'm like, well, what if I just don't have any drawers? And it's like, well, I want the drawers, you know? So I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to figure out a way to to avoid this problem without having to like try to return an entire desk. You know, I'm not going to repackage this thing up. I'm not going to lug it anywhere to ship it out. And it's just like such a giant inconvenience now. You know, it's almost like there should be quality assurance and testing. And it's just like, well, you're just fucked. It's like, okay, well, that's not ideal. And fucking the other things I bought them from Harbor Freight. Shout out Harbor Freight. Great place. Okay. But I get these products by, quote, U.S. General, quote, all over the packaging is made in China in giant letters. It's like, shout out to U.S. General doing America's work. This thing, it has all these intricate little spaces where like a child's hand couldn't fit, and you have to somehow hold a wrench and then screw from underneath, like within sharp metal things. And they're like, oh, put the drawer in last, but the drawer came built in. So I had to like bend within a drawer and the side of the drawer and the top of the thing, and you're like crushing your hand, and I'm like bleeding down my wrist because there's just sharp steel digging into my skin, and I'm trying to like twist a little thing with just my hands cramping up and my skin is ripping open and I got blisters. And it's like, this is what I signed up for. You know? Like, I'm doing this as a personal project. And I just want to kill myself before it even started. It's like putting this shit together is way harder than any of the other elements of this undertaking. You know? Isn't there some app where you can just be like, I got a job for you, come do it? And I'll be like, I'll give someone $40 to put this together. But that's the thing. Like, I don't trust some lazy fuck who's doing some cheap gig. You know, then you go sit on your fucking chair and it breaks because the dude put all the screws in with his hands and didn't tighten anything. You know? I can't trust that. It's a dilemma, folks. Come build my shit. Please. Fucking, my printer just showed up. They box it with a lamp in the box. There's zero padding between the printer and the lamp. They're like, oh, 2 boxes next to each other. Like, that'll just hold itself in the box, theoretically, right? Wrong, because one is a heavy printer and one is a lamp. I open up this box. This thing is destroyed. It is smashed up to pieces. Also, when the desk arrived, it was fucking... The box was all smashed in. There was holes punctured in it. And I'm like, fuck, the glass is going to be shattered on the tabletop. What am I going to do? Not the issue. The issue's just these things aren't long enough for the drawers. And it's like, well, that's not because the box was ripped. They're fucking like cast metal pieces. So, just fucked. I'm just fucked. Now I got to go to fucking Whole Foods to return a lamp. And it's like, how is that even a sentence that makes any sense? What's happened to our reality? I'm stressed out. I don't know what to say. Fuck, man. We're almost there, though. I figure in 2 weeks, everything will be like set in a way to where I can resume my normal viewing habits, and then we can get back on track for like, you know, episodes filled with topics versus me just being like, I'm gonna kill myself for an entire episode. And then like the materials I have to like manufacture buttons and keychains and shit is like a pretty old school company, but they're making like real high quality industrial grade like things. Like pin presses and shit. So I'm like, I gotta go with them. And then I get the shit. And the warranty info's on a piece of paper. And they're like, cut this piece of paper and mail it. And it's like, fuck, man. Can we just have all this be like one thing? Like, I'd love to just sit down one day and just type out all the warranty info and all the shit I bought, send it out, and just be done with it. It's like, no. And then, of course, like, oh, I got the printer. But my printer paper, of all things, had like a 2-week ship thing. And I get it. You're like, you lazy fuck, go to the store and buy printer paper. And it's like, yes, that's true. But I kind of just made one giant order for like a, you know, everything. It's all everything in once. And they all got grouped into different shipments. And somehow just the standard printer paper was so delayed that it's taking 2 weeks to get here. So it's like, no matter what, I just can't reach a starting point until I have everything. And then once I have everything, we can actually get rolling. So it's just like, fuck. Man, other than that, I will say tonight, probably going to sit back, relax, and watch the Eastern Conference Finals. The games have been fucking excellent. Weirdly also, I've just been watching the Celtics. Like, they've just been the team that's on when I'm able to watch it. I think I mentioned this before, but like TNT's a no-go for me unless I find some stream somewhere, but those always get annoying and you got to refresh them. And it's like, I'm not into basketball enough to really put forth this kind of effort, you know? So but Eastern Conference is on ESPN and ABC, so I can find a way to do that, even though technically the games that are on ESPN don't air on ESPN Plus, which is the stupidest fucking thing in the world. Because there are people now, I understand that this will contradict it in a second, but there are people with cable who also subscribe to ESPN Plus, and you can just sign in with a cable provider. But it's like, why is it that complicated? Why can't things that are on your channel air on your app? Like, I guess contractually, like, it just can't, but that's just a huge flaw, in my opinion. Anyway, the games have been fucking awesome. I'm rooting for, we'll get to the Warriors in a second. I'm rooting for the Heat just because of Jimmy Butler. He's going to be a Bull for life for me. I loved him when he was on the team. I was very sad when he left. And Miami seems to be a good fit for him. I like a lot of the dudes on the team, too, you know. I mean, Bam is just unreal. He was lighting the Celtics up in the last game. I couldn't believe it ended up as close as it was, to be honest. It was so dominant. But it's just, basketball's so weird now. I mean, where a team's up 25 and you're like, well, they might lose by 25. And it's just like, this used to never be a thing, and now it's just happening like every other playoff game, and that's kind of weird. But the intensity level has been really exciting. A lot of defense has been being played, which is great. I mean, watching regular season basketball can be pretty unbearable. But, I mean, it's always been true that sports are better in the playoffs. It has never been more. There's never been a larger gap, I think, in basketball in terms of the quality of play, at least in my entire life watching basketball. There's almost no comparison. It's like watching summer league to regular season, the way the gap has gone. But it is exciting to see the Warriors that, it'd be cool for Luka to get in there so early and just, be like, I'm here, bitch. Like, this is my time. But young stars don't really win anymore. You know, it took everybody a long time except, Magic and Bird. Although, I don't know how early into Bird's career he won either. I mean, anyway, I'm sure there's plenty of examples of a young guy getting one pretty decently, but you get my point. Even Giannis, it took him those extra couple years. He had to win MVP first. Shit like that. But to see the Warriors back at it again, I mean, there's almost no way they will lose from 3-1. So I figure in the next 2 games, maybe it'll go to game 6. Maybe. But they'll close that out. I have all the confidence in the world. It wouldn't surprise me if they swept. And if they sweep and they get that rest, I mean, I don't know. It's a weird thing where, it seems like the Heat have a matchup advantage over the Celtics, but the Celtics would be able to play the Warriors better than the Heat if I had to guess. Just because of how good the Celtics D has been, but how good is it if you can't stop Miami? How are you supposed to stop Golden State? I don't know. I'm not really a basketball guy. I'm just very into, the final 4 that are left. The NBA should be very happy because any outcome is pretty solid for the finals. So I'm rooting Warriors Heat. I mean, if they go up 3-1 tonight, which you'll be hearing this tomorrow, so sorry, then that'll change everything. And it'll pretty much just be Heat Warriors, which would be sick. But it's cool that the Warriors got back. I thought it was dumb when they got shit for signing KD because, they had made it organically already anyway, and they just, could get KD, so why not? But they made it back again. And it's sure, they signed Andrew Wiggins through free agency, but they pretty much built the team organically again. They didn't sign some, all-NBA player. He wasn't even an all-star until this season. So, I mean, they didn't make any crazy, splashy move this time, and they're just back again when nobody thought they would be. So that's just very exciting. It's always great to see Steph. You gotta love seeing Steph. I mean, he's just the fucking man, and I love Draymond Green. He might be my favorite player in the NBA. He at least was when he was still rolling at, his peak. I understand that he's still very vital to what they do, but, when they were winning titles originally, there was nobody who I admired more than Draymond Green. That's just always my type of guy. I'm a big Rodman guy. It's the only basketball jersey I own. I never wear it. It's too small. I'm not too big. The jersey's too small. Get it right, buddy. But I think it's going to be Warriors Heat. That's just what I'm thinking. I think the Warriors are going to win no matter what. The way they're playing, I think whichever team they play, I think that they got it. We'll see. Maybe I'll play some bets and maybe we'll talk about how I'm losing money. Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, boy. Looks like that's my time already, folks. I don't know how that happened. It's been a lot of fun chatting with y'all. Again, sorry for the shorter episodes and, the lack of like a structured topic necessarily. Hope you're still enjoying. Hope you're having fun. I know I am. It's great to put them out. I'll keep updates on that new project as they come. So hopefully that gets done soon and we can kind of get back on our stride. I want to finish Ozarks is really all I'm saying to you guys, is that I want to finish Ozarks and I have not been able to, and it's kind of been really annoying for me as well. So we'll talk about that hopefully soon. I will be back next week, of course, either way. And I love you. Rate, review, subscribe, share, get the word out. We got to blow this thing up, folks. It's 2022. Exponential growth only. Okay, all right, I'm going to go. But first, remember, I are fat, you are fat, we are fat. Calculator.